watershed divine, where 30 rivers flow, formed by mighty glaciers many thousand years ago. Lovely green belt, precious farmland, Doug Ford is selling you away to his buddies to make billions. They will build their monster houses and highways to the city, commuting and polluting all the way. We are standing up in Fergus, Fonthill and Owen Sound. All across the province we spread our message round, saying hands off the green belt, keep our farmland free, demanding that the government must kill Bill 23. Lovely green belt, precious farmland, no profiteer will grab you for his own. Leave the rivers, leave the valleys. We will never let them pave you. We're fighting hard to save you. Ontario's living legacy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Neighbourhood Unitarian Universalist congregation. Happy Earth Day, and it's good to be here with you this morning. My name's Suzanne Mazars. I'm the music director here, and I have your announcements for the week. First announcement, as always, the Spirit Choir meets on Monday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. If you're interested in singing with our choir, come talk to me after service. In our art gallery, we have 2 shows happening right now, Retrace by Jungle Ling and Ripples by me and this or anytime during the week. Our next talent night is happening on Saturday, May the 6th, starting at 7:30 p.m. Our talent night is for all talents and all ages. Come share with our extended community, hosted by no sign-up required. AGM is being held in person and on Zoom. We can't vote on Zoom, just for information. Our in-person AGM is April 30th after service. If you are unable to attend, please consider assigning your vote to another member by completing a proxy. Email as a member. Are you a member and did not receive the documents? It means you're not on our mailing list. Our office administrator, Hala. How to join will be sent out in Monday's email. Pastoral care is available here at Neighbourhood by Reverend Pat Trudeau. You can set up a time to speak to her on a confidential basis by phone, in person here in our space, or Zoom to discuss issues that you are seeking spiritual guidance on. To contact her, you can write to pastoralcare@nuuc.ca. This week's question to the community: what activates your hope in the face of climate change? We'll be exploring that question through our Act of Hope service. Next Sunday, April 30th, our service weaver is David Renzetti, and music will be provided by Reverend Lynn Hanson.
Last week, we had a semi-private joining ceremony, and we had 4 people join. We had Kendra Pape, Eyelet, Jennings. Yeah, I just wanted to, Kendra, you're also here. You put up your hand. Yeah. So I just wanted everyone to, to know the individuals who joined our congregation. Thank you. We welcome you.
Thank you, Christina. Good morning. Welcome to our Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Congregation service. We are so pleased you're joining us here in our sanctuary and virtually on Zoom. My name is Gillian Newcomb, and I'm your service reader today. First time. So pardon me if I'm a little nervous. Each Sunday, we start our service by creating a sacred space. Let's take a moment now, check how we're sitting. Are you relaxed? Are you comfortable? Take a deep breath. Make an adjustment if you need to. And please join me in reading our invocation. Let us cast a circle of a sacred space here.
Let us cast the circle of a cherished space here, a space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life. A life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families.
Today, our chalice will be lit by Nancy Vanderplatz.
Well, hello and good morning. I think everyone here knows my name, my name, that's the word, is Varen. And I'm thrilled to be singing this prelude. This was originally supposed to happen in January, but we were sick. And I couldn't be happier that it ended up happening on Earth Day, because when we were preparing during Zoom to have our secret singing Santa that we do in the choir, I pulled Bruce, and I knew Bruce and I had in common a love for the earth. And so I went searching for an earth-based song that I could sing for him. And I found this song called Mother Earth. It's by Carly Ann. And I fell in love with this song. I don't know how to put into words all the ways in which I love our earth, Mama Earth, Gaia, however you want to call it. All I know is this song, to me, feels like it encompasses all the love and fear that goes deep through my soul towards how connected we are to the earth, and sometimes how we treat it. So this is my song for y'all. Listen to the animals, listen to the trees, listen to the spirits of the earth, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed. Listen to the rivers, listen to the seas, listen to the spirits of the deep, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed. She sent the drought to warn us. She sent the storms to scold us. But we don't listen. We burn and we break and we take and we take and we take till it's too late. Oh, where did the bees go? Where did the trees go? Where will man go when he has lost the heart beat beneath his feet? Oh, this is our home. She gives us home, Mother Earth. Can't you feel her heart beat beneath your feet? Heart beat beneath your feet. Heart beat beneath your feet. Listen to the animals, listen to the trees, listen to the spirits of the earth, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed. Listen to the rivers, listen to the seas, listen to the spirits of the deep, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed. Listen to the animals, listen to the trees, listen to the spirits of the earth, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed. Listen to the rivers, listen to the seas, listen to the spirits of the deep, begging us, please. Stop listening to greed.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Additional including the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Mississauga, Formie, and are living here now, together with other First Nations, Métis and Inuit. The territory we are on is part of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum, a treaty made between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee, where nations entered into an agreement to protect the land and responsibly care for its resources in harmony together. By being on this land, we are responsible for upholding its treaties. Taking a moment to pause before our service begins and to participate in a land acknowledgement is one way that we recognize the enduring presence and resilience of Indigenous peoples. It is a reminder as well that we are all accountable to these relationships. Our mission at Neighbourhood is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. We are open to many beliefs and learn from many traditions. We welcome all people looking for a spiritual community. I don't see any new faces in our group today, but if you are joining us on Zoom for the first time and you do grace us with our presence one day, which we hope you will, we will encourage you to stay after service for coffee time. Our services can vary from week to week, and so we would encourage you to sample several to get a better understanding of who we are. Our theme for April is trust, and to my right, on the windowsill, is our monthly altar theme. Our monthly theme altar. And you're encouraged to share in this theme by bringing in objects that meaningfully deepen your connection to what trust means to you. We will be storing these items away after services, and you can trust that you will get them back after the last service of the month. Today, we are honoring Earth Day with a special service involving several members of the Active Hope small group, including me. Tony Rappaport will introduce us to the spiral and great turning. Zariah Getchell, who facilitates our children's program, will provide a visual presentation of the time spiral. Natalie Zend, who's joining us from Nicaragua on Zoom, will guide us through honoring our pain. Lorraine Endicott, who is also joining us from Zoom, I believe from Nova Scotia, will lead our meditation. And Tony will be up again to facilitate a practice that will help us see with new eyes. And last but certainly not least, our beloved Suzanne Lazars, who is an Active Hope co-facilitator along with Natalie and Bruce Lynn, and leading the musical delights for today's service, will explore the topic of going forth with our renewed sense of where we are and what is needed to try and transform the world. We acknowledge the valuable contributions to this service of our other group members, notably Bruce Lynn, who I believe is joining us on Zoom, Valerie Moisey and Kim Knudsen, who could not be here with us today. But before we get started, can you guess what time it is? It's time to do what I know we all love to do, and that is greet our neighbors. So after you've said a few hellos, remember to turn to the camera at the back and wave to all those joining us virtually. Suzanne will sound a chime at the end. Now take a moment and say hello to your neighbors.
Hello.
Morning.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi,
Nice
Natalie.
to
Nice
see
to
you.
see you.
Morning, Natalie. Hello,
Morning.
Tina.
Hi, Bruce.
Bruce.
Hi, Jesse.
Jesse.
Hi, Dee
Bruce.
Dee.
No, it's so nice
Done.
you're here.
Hi, Gail. Julie.
Valerie.
Natalie.
Hey.
So nice.
Good
Hi,
to see
Lynn.
you again.
Great to
Yeah.
see you here, Lynn.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Warm welcome.
Lynn.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Leah.
Mark.
Louise.
Hi,
Bill and
Reese.
Brenda. Good morning.
Morning, Mark.
Hi, Gail.
Thanks for your help.
Hi.
Hey, Mary.
How's your weather in
Morning.
Nicaragua? Hi, Sigrid.
Marion.
Julie.
Lee.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Hey, Dad. Okay.
Hi, Leah and Reese and
Hi,
Marion,
Don.
Bill and Brenda.
Mwah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tony.
So as Gillian said, our service today is based on active hope. And Active Hope is a book based on a process called The Work That Reconnects, which is a set of practices intended to help us understand ourselves and our world. And we've been going through this book together as a book group all year, really, and it's been a wonderful experience. And so I'm going to introduce some of the themes of these practices to you this morning. Active Hope is based on, first of all, on 3 stories. The first of these 3 stories is called Business as Usual, and it's the story of the modern world, which now is really embraced by people all over the world, and not everyone, but really it's become dominant. And this is the story of unlimited consumption, unlimited exploitation of the world's natural resources, unlimited growth. The second story is the story that we call the Great Unraveling. And this is what happens as a result of business as usual, when unlimited growth and unlimited exploitation of the environment leads inevitably to ever-increasing inequality and the devastation of people's lives and connections to the natural world. It leads to the climate crisis and environmental crises all over the world. It leads to mass extinctions. It leads to wars and the threats of ever more destructive wars. The third story, though, is called The Great Turning. The Great Turning is what needs to happen for us to have a better future, or a livable future, or a long future as human societies. Now, this Great Turning, which is the whole purpose of getting together and talking about these things, has 3 dimensions, things that need to happen, that synergistically connect to each other to make the Great Turning possible. The first is holding actions. This is actions that we take in defense of those things that are under threat, that need to be defended, whether human communities or whether the natural environment. Second is shifts in consciousness, new ways of understanding, new ways of thinking, new ways of relating to each other, new ways of understanding our own lives and the past and the future. And finally, life-sustaining systems and practices. And this is where we really learn about new ways of being and put systems in place so those new ways of being become the regular way of operating as humans. In some ways, that's about reconnecting to ways that humans have always operated in indigenous societies and throughout the history of humanity before the modern age. In other ways, it's about inventing new ways of understanding ourselves and each other and dealing with our relation to the natural world. Now, the Great Turning involves 3 threads, 3 approaches that can connect us to this process, which we know needs to happen, which can be difficult to imagine how it's going to happen. The first is adventure. Every story may have a hero, it may have adventures, it may have interesting, if you know. So embracing life and history and the future in the spirit of adventure allows us to engage without necessarily knowing that we're going to end up where we want to end up. Then comes active hope. That's where our belief, our aspirations, our desires connect with our activities, well, what we're going to do about it to bring about that future that we all desire so much. And finally, is the spiral of the work that reconnects. And that's where we're going to take you this morning in a version of what we've learned reading the Active Hope book. Could you put the slide up, please? I think it's readable, good. The spiral of the work that reconnects involves 4 movements. And it's a spiral because they connect to each other. You can start anywhere, continue along the circle, and it comes back to start over again. The first is coming from gratitude. The second is honoring our pain for the world. The third is called by the authors seeing with new eyes, but we don't need to actually use that metaphor. Metaphor is connecting seeing with understanding can be contribute to prejudices against people with disabilities. It sort of suggests, even though it doesn't intend to suggest, that people with disabilities lack some essential human quality of understanding, which of course is not true. So instead we could call it new ways of perceiving. And finally, going forth. That's where we put our new ways of perceiving and our new understanding of ourselves into action. And this service is going to be about those stages. But the main thing I wanted to point out is it's a spiral. What that means is that you come around to where you started. If you start with gratitude, after going forth, you come back to gratitude. You don't come back to the same place you started. You come back perhaps with a wider view, perhaps with having learned through the process. So you can think of it as a higher place on the spiral, or you could think of it as a deeper place on the spiral, having gained some self-knowledge, having connected with deeper parts of ourselves. But whichever way the spiral is going, it's a continuous process which doesn't come back to the same place, but continues on in a direction that we choose. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. We're going to start in gratitude. I like to lead you in a children's song of a gratitude for our earth. If we could pull up the slide, please. You can join me. Boom diada, 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 boom diada. I love the flowers, I love the towering trees, I love the whistling brooks and the busy bees. I love to live and live to love for all these wonderful things. Diada boom 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 diada. I love the flowers, I love the towering trees, I love the whistling brooks and the busy bees. I love to live and live to love for all these wonderful things. Diada boom 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 diada. I love the flowers, I love the towering trees, I love the whistling brooks and the busy bees. I love to live and live to love for all these wonderful things. Diada boom 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 diada boom.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to invite all of the young and young at heart down to the front because it's time for our Time for All Ages. So I'm also part of the Active Hope group, and I wanted to thank my other group members, even the ones who can't be here physically with us, for all helping to help shape and create this service. I don't know about the rest of you, but I had fun. So my part of the book to talk about was gratitude. And in the gratitude section, it suggested practicing gratitude, finding something that you're grateful to look to when times are hard, like when you're struggling with the idea of climate change. That can be hard. And that was great for me because I often struggle with gratitude and could honestly use some more practice with it. And later on in the book, it gave me something to come back to that I am grateful for. Something for me to look at when I struggle with things like climate change and still feel a little bit of hope. And I wanted to share that thing that the book gave me with you all. It's called the Time Spiral. And Mark, if we can have the first slide for the Time Spiral show up on the screen. I know what you're thinking. That's not a spiral, that's clocks. And you're right, it was presented differently in the book. In the book, it looked like a spiral. But we're going to work with clocks here because it was much easier for me to make this way. So the idea of the time spiral is, if you took the entire time that the Earth existed and squish it down into one day, what would that day be like? When do you think on this day, see we have sort of midnight at the beginning and then it goes until noon and then it goes until midnight again. Where do you think on this day life started in the planet? Anybody have an idea? Midnight. I hear midnight. I hear 9 p.m. What about you? 1 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon? In the morning. Okay. Well, Mark, can you show us where life started? Life starts just there, a little after 4 o'clock in the morning. That's not bad, right? Nice and early in the day. So what about fish? When do you think fish first started to evolve in the world? What time? 5? 5 when? 5 p.m. Cameron? What's the opposite of 5 p.m.? 5 a.m. Okay, 5 a.m. Anybody else? 6:30 a.m. Okay, Mark, can you show us the next where fish come from? 9 o'clock at night. Over half the time of the world's been around it took just for fish to evolve. So after fish, what do we all think about when we think about life before humans? They're big and they took over the world for a long, long time. Dinosaurs. You got to think that that's got to be shortly after fish, right? There's not that much time left in the day. Where do you think dinosaurs came into play? 10. Ooh. 6 p.m. Do you have a guess?
Oh, I meant 11.
No, that's okay if you don't have a guess. Mark, can you show us dinosaurs? After 11 o'clock at night.
That was my second.
Yeah. And of all of the millions of years between dinosaurs and humans is less than an hour on this day. Because humans didn't come around until the last 5 seconds of the day. And our entire history is wrapped up in just those 5 seconds. But we can still spiral a little bit deeper than that. We can take those last 5 seconds, spread them out into another day, and start again with our next slide, Mark. Here we go, midnight of our new day. Humans have just evolved. And when we think of humans, early humans, we often tend to think of them being hunters and gatherers, or cave people, right? So how long do you think it took us to get there? To get to the point of being cave people and hunter-gatherers just after first evolving? 6 o'clock in the a.m., 4 o'clock in the a.m.? Okay, Mark, can you show us when we became hunter-gatherers? Noon. Half the time humans have existed before we started learning how to hunt and how to gather. Yeah, I know, right? Can we move a little bit forward again, Mark? Because I'll tell you something else. It took another 6 hours, another half of our remaining day before we even started to leave Africa. So what's another thing that we think about when we think of early humans? Maybe farming, maybe the wheel. When do we think the wheel happened, or farming? Any ideas? We migrated without wheels, you got it. 9, okay, 9 or midnight, okay. Mark, can you show us? Farming and the wheel both happened around the same time, around 11 o'clock at night, a little before, a little after. It's almost the entire time we've been around that we haven't even had the wheel. We haven't even been farming. So what about the last minute? What went in the last minute of the day? Mark, would you show us? Booms. All human population booms, our energy booms, our technology booms. Everything that we've done to contribute to climate change exists in the last fraction of a fraction of a fraction of time that our planet has been around. And when I think about that, I can't help but feel hope that We can correct our course. We can come back from climate change. And I find a lot of gratitude in that, and I find a lot of hope in that. And I hope that you can too. So thanks for sharing this spiral with me. I had a lot of fun diving into it, and I hope you did too. Shall we go into our back room now? Yeah.
Grow in the spirit, children. Grow in the spirit, children. Grow in the spirit, grow in the spirit. Spirit, children.
Now I'm going to invite Natalie to join us from Nicaragua on Zoom to introduce Honoring Our Pain.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, everyone. We began with gratitude by singing Boom Diata and with the Time for All Ages and that time spiral. Gratitude, as Tony said, is the first station in the spiral, and coming from gratitude grounds us in trust. It strengthens and nourishes us and supports us to be able to face the harsh realities of the state of the world. From gratitude, we then naturally flow to the next station in the spiral of the work that reconnects, and that is honoring our pain for the world. Here, we give time and attention to feel and hear our grief, our sorrow, outrage, and fear, and whatever other felt responses naturally arise in us as we contemplate what is happening to our world. And this takes us into culturally forbidden territory. We are told from a young age, over and over again in so many ways, to repress or to hide these feelings. Don't be a downer, or your anguish is your personal problem to be fixed. Take antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications. And yet, when we're cut off from these responses, we lose the feedback loops that tell us that we need to respond. Imagine if you had no sensation in your arm. You wouldn't feel if you burnt yourself or cut yourself, and that arm could quickly become severely damaged. You might even lose the limb. And that's where we are now as a species. We need to feel and hear our inner alarm in order to survive. Our pain for the world not only alerts us to danger, it also reveals our profound interconnection with the world. It reveals our deep care for the world. And that care comes because we are not separate from the web of life. It is our larger body. So honoring our pain brings us into a knowing of our deep interbeing with all of life and in that web of existence. So we need not fear that pain. Bruce and I have assembled a video of images of our world and the ways that we are laying waste to it. We'll show it in a moment, and as you view it, I invite you to keep breathing and really let yourself feel all of the emotions that arise in you naturally as you see those images. This is an invitation to respect and attend to your pain and to recognize its value. Mark, if you can show the video.
Hello, everyone. The meditation I'm going to lead you in is from the book Active Hope. It's called Breathing Through. It's meant to help us be able to take in the terrible devastation and suffering in the world, some images of which we've just seen, without being brought to our knees by despair. I was recently reminded that the word despair comes from the Latin for without hope. This meditation from Active Hope is, I think, a wonderful practice to better allow us to maintain our hope while recognizing and feeling the world's pain. It allows us to come out on the other side of sorrow stronger than ever. As Natalie said, keep breathing. I'll start the meditation now. Closing your eyes, focus on your breathing. Don't try to breathe in any special way, slow or long. Just watch the breathing as it happens, in and out. Note any accompanying sensations at the nostrils or in the chest or abdomen. Stay passive and alert, like a cat by a mouse hole. As you watch the breathing, note that it happens by itself, without your will, without you deciding each time to inhale or exhale. It's as though you are being breathed by life, just as everyone in this room, in this city, on the planet now, is being breathed by life, sustained in a vast, living, breathing web. Now visualize your breath as a stream or ribbon of air. See it flow up through your nose, down through your windpipe, and into your lungs. Now take it through your heart. Picture it flowing through your heart and out through an opening in your heart to reconnect with the larger web of life. Let the breath stream as it passes through you and through your heart, appearing as one loop within that vast web, connecting you with it. Now open your awareness to the suffering of the world. For now, drop all defenses and open to your knowledge of that suffering. Let it come as concretely as you can. Images of your fellow beings in pain and need, in fear and isolation, in prisons, hospitals, tenements, refugee camps. No need to strain for these images. They are present to you by virtue of our interexistence. Relax and just let them surface. The countless hardships of our fellow human beings and of our animal brothers and sisters as well, as they swim the seas and fly the air of this planet. Now breathe in the pain like invisible tears in the stream of air, up through your nose, down through your trachea, lungs, and heart, and out again into the world. You are asked to do nothing for now, but let it pass through your heart. This is important. Be sure the stream flows through and out again. Don't hang on to that pain. Surrender it for now to the healing capacity of life's vast web. Let all sorrows ripen in me, said Shantideva, the Buddhist saint. We help them ripen by passing them through our hearts, making good, rich compost out of all that grief, so we can learn from it, enhancing our larger collective knowing. If no images or feelings arise and there is only blankness, gray and numb, breathe that through. The numbness itself is a very real part of our world. And if what surfaces for you is not pain for other beings, so much as losses and hurts in your own life, breathe those through too. Your own difficulties are an integral part of the grief of our world. Should you fear that with this pain your heart might break, remember that the heart that breaks open can hold the whole universe. Your heart is that large. Trust it. Keep breathing. When you're ready, please open your eyes.
Is it turned on? Now it is. Okay. Thank you very much, Lorraine. That was beautiful. This is a unique time in our service when we invite you to share a joy or concern in your life. And today, if you would like to acknowledge how you're feeling about what we've been listening to and witnessing, you are more than welcome to share. So please form lines on either side of the sanctuary. Take one candle from Peter and approach the chalice when I motion to you. For those on Zoom, we will call on you after those in the sanctuary. This is a cherished time in our community that brings us closer together. Please respect the sacredness of this ritual and try to be as brief as you can. This isn't a time to make announcements or tell long stories. We start by expressing gratitude for all the volunteer efforts, seen and unseen, that help our community. Oh, thank you. Surprise. That's very helpful. We start by expressing gratitude for all our volunteer efforts, seen and unseen, that help our community to hold together. And this candle is lit for Joanna Macy and Dr. Chris Johnstone, who are the co-authors of Active Hope, How to Face the Mess We're In with Unexpected Resilience and Creative Power. Joanna is a scholar of Buddhism, general systems theory, and deep ecology, and is a respected voice in movements for peace, justice, and the environment. And Chris is a specialist in the psychology of resilience, sustainable happiness, and positive change. It is their commitment and passion that is inspiring us in our work today. And I am lighting this personal candle of gratitude for the wonderful opportunities of involvement and connection that this community has brought to me, including the privilege of being service weaver today.
I believe. I belong. To the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. Yes, I believe I belong to the earth. I belong. May my life be a song. May my song feed the earth. Yes, I believe I belong to the earth. my soul. Feed the earth. Yes, I believe.
As we connect with our gratitude, as we honor our pain, this brings up the possibility of new ways of perceiving. I think all the songs we've been doing today really come around to those same themes. It's not a coincidence, of course. Suzanne's chosen them for that reason. But music is a very powerful way to shift our consciousness. That shift in consciousness, which was one of the three pillars of the Great Turning, music helps with that. Honoring our pain helps with that, and gratitude helps with that. Now, these types of new ways of perceiving can take different forms. It can take a million forms, of course, but in Active Hope, we center in on a few kind of categories or types of new ways of perceiving and sort of cultivate them in ourselves, remembering that this is a process where we keep coming around in the 4 stages over and over. So if the new ways of perceiving seem subtle at first, next time we come around, they're deeper or stronger, or we can perceive more widely or in new ways. The first category is a wider sense of self, and this is something that Natalie spoke about very movingly. As we connect with ourselves in honest, complete ways, as we become our whole selves more, we can connect with each other in deeper ways as well, with people in our lives, with people in our communities, with our congregation, with other communities we're part of. That wider sense of self, as the slogan goes, from me to we, is a big part of the process. A different kind of power. Now, power is always, or almost always, understood as being a concentration of power. Some people become powerful through their institutional status or in other ways. But there's a different kind of power, and that's the power of togetherness, the power of conviction, the power of commitment, the power of collective determination. All those things are explored. A richer experience of community. That's what results from a wider sense of self and a deeper connection with ourselves as complete people, is that our communities become a place where we truly belong because we've actually shared ourselves in our communities. We've shared our pain, we've shared our gratitude, we've shared our joys, and as we do that more and more, those communities become much more nurturing and empower us much more deeply. And finally, a larger view of time. Zariah took us through one way to experience a wider view of time in his Time for All Ages, their Time for All Ages. The wider view of time means that our lifetime, which is so small in the course of human history and so small even in the course of what needs to happen in the changes that we need in the world, is nevertheless part of a continuity and a flow that comes from our ancestors down to our descendants. And that's very significant, but it can be easy to lose sight of that because culturally it's not reinforced too much in our cultures. Other cultures connect with their ancestors in a much deeper way. Now, the work that reconnects does involve often a creative visualization, as Lorraine, the meditation that Lorraine shared takes us through one version of that. Another version is to imagine people 200 years from now that truly realize that they're real. They may not be born yet, but they're real, and we can connect with them in a really deep way by visualizing their lives 200 years from now. And imagine 200 years from now, the Great Turning has been accomplished. The world is better. The world is what humans need it to be, to have really fulfilling lives and to have a sense of security in the future. And now imagine that somebody from that time, 200 years from now, time traveled and wrote us a letter. And this letter has several questions for us. And I'm going to read you one of those questions. And I'm going to ask for responses from here in the sanctuary and also on Zoom. So please consider how you might respond to this question in a letter from the future. Ancestor, I hear stories about the period you are living in, with wars and preparations for war, with some people absurdly rich, while huge numbers are starving and homeless, poisons in the seas and soil and air, the dying of many species. Ancestor, our songs and stories tell of what you and your friends did back then for the Great Turning, but they don't tell us how you got started. You must have felt lonely and confused sometimes, especially at the beginning. What were the first steps you took? Anyone?
Using human power for transportation, riding your bike.
I cleaned up my neighborhood and planted some bee-friendly plants.
I took responsibility for my footprint and recycled as much as I can possibly.
I found like-minded people to join me in bringing about
If you'd like to respond to some of the Tony, open your reaction tab at the bottom, raise your hand. To speak, you have to advise you to be, you have your camera off. Once you spoken, please mute. Didi, go ahead.
I celebrated Earth Day with the children at school. Showed videos, talked, and planted seeds and cleaned up the grounds.
Thank you, Didi. Bruce?
I learned how to sing and to lead other people in singing so that we could express our joy and our love for the earth and all of creation.
Thank you, Bruce. Dina?
I counted the notion that I am outside of nature and foster inside myself the absolute certainty and understanding that I am nature and that nature works through me.
Thank you, Dina. That's everybody at this time, Tony.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Tony. Now, this is not part of the script, not planned today, but I just wanted to take a minute to offer extreme gratitude to Mark Tim and Joe Strakowski, who are working very, very hard on all our tech support. It's not an easy job, and it's Mark's first day today, so thank you very, very much. And now for business. It's time for our offertory. Sharing of oneself is part of every faith community, and volunteer work is integral and very much appreciated. But your monetary contributions pay for our staff salaries and programs that we all benefit from. Members of Neighbourhood choose a variety of ways to give, either through weekly collection, predated checks, e-transfers, or automatic withdrawals. Our greeters will pass baskets around for those who wish to contribute now. And for those attending virtually, please use the link displayed on the screen, which leads you to our website donations page. in whatever way you choose to give. Please be as generous as possible.
For our offering music today, we're going to see a video created by the music directors from our sibling congregations in Montreal and Phoenix, Arizona. Let Her Speak by Ma Muse.
River wide and river deep calls me to her side to protect and for her speak. Water, she says, it is time. Vast, vast oceans, bubbling creeks, all are friends of mine. From valley floor to mountain peak, water, she says, it is time.
Naturalist E.O. Wilson writes, "There can be no purpose more inspiring than to begin the age of restoration, reweaving the wondrous diversity of life that still surrounds us." Joanna Macy speaks of the great turning, the essential adventure of our time, the shift from the industrial growth society to a life-sustaining civilization. Restoration of land and relationship pushes that turning wheel. Action on behalf of life transforms, because the relationship between self and the world is reciprocal. It is not a question of first getting enlightened or saved and then acting. As we work to heal the earth heals us.
So lay down your weapons, I come in peace to be a stand for life. For all things thrive where water is clean. Water, she says, it is time. For all things thrive where water is clean. Water, she says, it is time.
If you have found love and acceptance here, if you have found home here, let this offering be a token of gratitude for our common life as we build the common good.
We'll do what needs to be done. We'll do what needs to be done. Let go what needs to be gone. Let go what needs to be gone. That needs to be won. Waste what needs to become. All together. We'll do what needs to be done. Let go what needs to be gone. We'll win what needs to be won. We'll embrace what needs to become. One more time. We'll do what needs to be done. Let go what needs to be gone. We'll win what needs to be won. We'll embrace what needs to become. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in that chant. You can have a seat again. Written by Active Hope member Bruce Line. I'm going to take you through going forth. We've found gratitude, honored our pain, tried to envision a future world that we're aiming towards, and now going forth, how do we get there? So I have some ideas from Joanna Macy. First thing is we need to believe that things actually can be different. That can be very hard when we're stuck in a world where it's sometimes hard to imagine that. But those dreams that we have for a new future, those visions can give us direction. They give us energy, they give us excitement and inspiration to head in that direction. Maybe a few of you could call out a couple things that you would like to see, like let your imaginations run wild in your imagined future, a beautiful future world. What kinds of things would be there? Like just let it be anything. It doesn't have to be what you think is possible right now.
No fossil fuel.
Equality. No cars. Free public transit. Free transit. Or green space in the city. Green spaces, right. And these brainstorming ideas are what actually open up the possibility for a new world. So how do we start visioning? Joanna Macy suggests 3 things. We need to make sure we create space to have those visions. We have to give ourselves time to let our imaginations grow. And then when we're in that brainstorming place, really give intention to this world and attention to what they are, and then remember them. Write them down, record them, art them, do something so they stick in your consciousness. So I'm just going to pull up my own notes here. And some ideas for how to keep going. The world can be discouraging. Joanna suggests 5 points. I love handy 5-point lists. They help me remember. So 1 is seek inspiring examples from history. There are many. There are many things to look to that humans have accomplished when they've had a vision and worked towards it. We'll look at a couple of those in a second. The phenomenon of discontinuous change, where one day things can be different. You think you're headed in one direction and suddenly something's different and you can't imagine it being any other way. That happens in this world. Face your own threshold guardians. The idea of threshold guardians comes from Joseph Campbell, that right before you're about to take a step into a new world, there's something there that's going to fight against you. What are those things for you? What are those things that keep you from crossing the threshold? Fears, maybe, or insecurities. Lean into your own experiences of perseverance. We all have that. We have been through tough times, all of us. What got us through those times? Remember them. And then also to witness and recognize the great turning happening in us, happening in this community, happening in our other communities, happening in our world. It's out there. We don't hear about them as much in the news, but notice them and recognize when you see it in each other and in yourself. I have a couple of examples from history for when things could not be, things changed. So from Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream in 1963, 46 years later, we have our first Black president. From the first published anti-slavery essay, 1785, 22 years later, the abolition of slavery in the UK. From the first U.S. Women's Rights Convention, 1850, 70 years later, women got the right to vote. We never looked back. But there's that moment, you vision a future you want, and the day will come when it will change. You just have to keep believing in it. So, for change to happen, how are we going to keep going with this? She offers some points. You need to cultivate support. Your own habits. What about your own things that you can do to support yourself in this? The people in your life. Surround yourself with people that support you in this, the society you live in. And developing a stronger sense of eco-spiritual interconnection. I would say for us, that's leaning into our 7th principle and recognizing we are all part of the earth and the interconnected web. Number 2, maintaining enthusiasm. This is a valuable resource. Say yes! I see Lauren changing. Redefine what a good life really means. It might not be what society has sold us and told us. Savor your successes. It is okay to celebrate and have joy, bring joy. Broaden your sense of what activism means. It can look different for each person in this room, and to follow your gladness. I want to close this section of Going Forth with a poem actually that Lorraine brought to my attention by Mary Oliver. It's called When I Am Among the Trees. I'll read it to you and it'll be pulled up on the screen. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself in which I have goodness and discernment and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again. "It's simple," they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And now to conclude, if you are feeling inspired by what's been shared today, I invite you to speak to one of us after service when we can share more about the Act of Hope work. And look out for an announcement about future small groups, which we hope will continue to be facilitated in our community. If you'd like to get involved in positive change right now, speak to Nancy Vanderplatz or Laura Thomas about joining our Social Environmental Action Group. Nancy, if you would kindly come up to extinguish our chalice, and then I invite you all to sing with Suzanne. Right here. Although our chalice has been darkened, we hold a fire within our own hearts. For a closing blessing, we are going to try it hybrid style. I encourage you to take your neighbor's hand or touch their shoulder, whatever is most comfortable. And a reminder regarding our question to the community: what do you do to activate your hope in the face of climate change?
May we feel the gratitude and the strength and support of the people we love and of those who love us, to continue walking the path.
May we accept our brokenheartedness for our world as a reflection of our deep love for it. And may this recognition of our grief as love help us build anew together.
May our world be renewed by new ways of perceiving.
Let's do what needs to be done. Let go what needs to be gone. Let's win what needs to be won. We'll embrace what needs to become.
Our service has ended.